G'day, I'm Adrian, and this is my place. G'day everyone, welcome back to the fish room. We are stoked that you stopped by. We really truly appreciate it. I can't tell you how much, so thank you very much for your time. Today's video is the long time filming Corydoras video, so I think I've got enough footage now to actually, it's cold here today by the way, that's why we're in the fish room. I think I've got enough footage to actually put together a decent video, and it's definitely not a how to breed Corydoras, so there's a gazillion of them out on the internet now. For me, this is just how I do it. So I'm going to take you along. I'm going to show you through different types of tanks that I've done it in, different types of methods of collecting and holding the eggs and hatching the eggs. I'm going to go through the different types of Corydoras that I've got. I actually bred a few for this video. It's taken about 8 weeks to get to this point. Yeah, I know, it is pretty boring, huh? So it's been a long time coming. So we are going to go and do that right now, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. I'm going to give you some tips along the way as well. And again, it's just how I do it. So go and get comfy, because I'm going to talk about fish, and particularly Corydoras.
Okay, so the plan is, this is a chino by the way, the other Siamese Tonkinese. Say hello boy. Yeah, he's not so keen to be on camera, are you? Don't mind a pat though. Alright, so these guys are ready to move. I'd like to get them out of there today, and where they're going to go is into this tank over here, which you can see is pretty dirty because I've just caught the 2 angelfish that were in there, and they're now enjoying life in the 8-footer again. So this tank I'm going to use for a couple of videos. You'll see it, I'll edit it differently, so hopefully it won't be too monotonous or boring, but yeah mate, I know. Hello. This is the one that Ziggy does not get on with at all, and he doesn't get on with Ziggy, so yeah, this is Dr. Evil, I guess you could call him. What I want to do is, you can see it's completely overrun with with trumpet snails. Now these guys are in all of my tanks, and I will show on the actual snail eradication video just how many I've got, and including these guys up here. So, and then in here, and you can't see that with the glare, but there's a heap on there, trust me. So today what I'm going to do, there's some panda corys living in here at the moment. They've been breeding in here quite happily, but since there's been this many snails, I've got no babies, surprise, surprise. So they're going to come out, and they're going to be part of the Corydoras breeding video that I'm shooting. And yes mate, I know. The snail eradication will be part of the snail eradication video. Okie doke, we have now drained the tank successfully, and I'm really surprised at how many Corydoras. These are the pandas that I've got in here. Sort of thought I had about 20, so they've obviously been breeding, and they love this sort of stuff. They're very happy to rip around a new tank. So I'm going to put these guys into a tub tonight, and I'm going to set it up for them to breed in there. Keep them there, well, probably a couple of weeks, and I'll just try breeding them in this tub over here actually. So it's the one that I've got the mixed rainbows in there, going in with into the angels tank. So I think it's like 125 litre tub, I guess. There's a sticker in there, but I don't think I'll be able to read anything off that one. So I'm going to put that just here, because this area here is where I'm thinking of putting a this tank here from inside the foyer. So it's going to go hopefully here next to this one, and so I'm going to put the tub in here so I can sort of get used to walking around this space, because that's going to be a corridor. It's like a C-shaped corridor, and my plan is to still get an 8-footer, 6-footer and tanks all underneath them in an L shape here as well once I sell this gym. So that's what I'm going to do now, and this is probably one of the best times to actually inspect your corys. As much as I dislike moving them, disturbing them and changing their home, I do think this is the best time to see what you've actually got, which is awesome. So they do look cool from the top too, hanging around in there. So that's the next job, move these corys across to that. Well, in fact it's not, the rainbow's out and then the corys across. You'll see that now. Okay, now given we've just moved those angels across, we are into the rainbows. Now it's going to be a bit difficult, I think, but I can certainly see those two males. I think they're the Parkinsonais. They're going to go where I got the angels from. Oh yeah, doesn't he look good in there? Look at that. Oh yeah. Beautiful. That's why people wait for so long to get rainbows to colour up, and it's usually a couple of years, by the time you buy them. Yeah, that's a different one to the other one I caught. Nosed one. Now if they're different, I'm going to have to try to catch them out at some other point in time. They look similar to those guys. So I think they're two different species in there. See the difference in the lines on this one here, and then the fins on this guy here. So that's cool, because I think I'll be able to tell the difference between those guys moving forward. The corys will be so happy to have other fish in there. Look at them, just happy, just eating away there, because they've got dither fish. I'm going to turn my light on, it might scare them. The colours on them, which is the other way to tell. So I'll try to work out whether they're males and females, and then try to get the partners for them and actually breed some of those guys. They're beautiful. Very happy with them. And of course the Bosmanais up here, look at them. They've already coloured up. Looking spectacular, as they do, and it's brought the Acaras out. Just having another fish in there has made the Acaras way more comfortable. Looking for dinner already. Okay. Actually, I probably won't tip it out because it's got good bacteria in it, and I think the corys will love to sift through all of that. And if I've missed anything, well, it won't hurt the corys. So, okay, miner's light off. Getting used to walking around that space. As you can see, when the bench is actually out here, so I'll have that tank from the foyer, which will probably be about, it's about yay high, I guess, isn't it? So it'll fit in there, comes out about there, so I'll have this little space to walk around here. Another corridor up here, 8-footer here, 6-footer here, and 2 and 3 footers, I think, all the way around in there. And given, well, depending on where the 8-footer comes out, I could actually have another 6-footer on the back of the other 6-footer. So anyway, don't tell my missus about that. Mrs. Fisherman would not be happy. So I'm just about ready to start setting up the tub. It's just a blank canvas. We'll try to put some better light on that as I'm doing it. But I've realised that I probably don't have exactly the number of rocks that I want. I want another big one. So we're just going to do a wander out here to go and get some hardscaping. Yes, I do this quite often. Mrs. Fishroom thinks I'm mad. Anyway, this is what I'm looking for. I knew I had a pile of rocks somewhere. So
I'm wanting something reasonably large, but not so large that it's going to take a heap of effort to lift it. I think these will be okay too. What was that? Some more of them. Maybe one of those. What do you reckon, Zig? Hey? You loves coming out at night time, don't you? Actually, we haven't put the chickens away. We do need to do that. So we'll take these rocks up here. Okay, so now we've got the rocks. Ziggy has just installed the airlines. He's just double checking them now. He's awesome at checking his work 2 or 3 times. What is it? Measure twice, cut once. No, that's fine. Thank you, mate. Thank you. Can you hop off there now? Thank you. Come on, good boy. So what I've done is I've got an airline cut in here. Ziggy has, I should say. And I've got an air stone which is working. And I'm going to stick that in the corner there so that it comes up and basically flows out. I'm going to put some rocks in here to try to angle the flow. And I've also got an airlift tube that Ziggy designed. And if you haven't seen that video, my mate's rescue tank, which is this one right here. So that one, I explain how I actually do that. So I've just replicated that in there. I've left all the moldy, dirty water from the rainbows in there, some of it. And I have cleaned some sand, which I'm going to put in right now. And then, what do you think, Zig? We'll put some plants in and some bits and pieces, and I think they're good to go. We'll turn it all on. See, that would have been funny if you fell in right there. No, mate, we don't need to get it out again. We just went and got it. What I want to do, given I've taken the effort to get all the snails out of it, is push the roots back in for tonight. So I'll move those guys tomorrow. I won't scape it, given how late it is, and Mrs. Fishering's got dinner ready. Now, what I don't want to do is get these Malaysian trumpet snails in here. So what the plan is to get these guys to swim out. What do you reckon? Play along? Come on. Embers are swimming in. Come on. There we go. Once one gets the idea. Come on, there's always one. There we go. Okay, so there's no corys in the bucket. Snails are there. I did think I saw one drop in, but can't see it. So anyway, okay, well that's it for tonight. The next day, it's just quite cool to come in and see. Time when it's a bit cold in the water, so the air temp is probably a bit warmer than that. They come out of the water quite a bit. That's a girl, you can tell, because I know the size of the claw on the big one. Pretty friendly. What do you think? It's really cool to be able to see these guys moving around their tank and enjoying the setup. I found they don't eat that lace fern, funnily enough, which is good. They eat pretty much everything else. Alright, now this is the tub this morning. I have been down here when I turned the lights on earlier, and I had a Corydora laying upside down there, and I thought, oh no, I've killed it, but as it turns out, it was just sleeping when I put my hands in it. Took off. It's clearing up a bit, so that's pretty good. we're going to get into the scaping of this tank now for my Godiads video. And so yeah, they have an ability to play dead basically when they sleep, or they look like it, don't they, Zig? Like the betas do now. What's happening over here? So I put these rainbows in last night, which are spectacular. This is not a breeding Corydora tank, but when you change a tank up, sometimes putting fish in, just changing the scape around, doing a water change, whatever it might be, it usually excites the corys. So they're bred. I think they're the albinos that are, because it's just the mass of eggs that's on there. The rainbows have polished a few of them off, so have the other corys. So I'm not overly concerned about that. I have more than enough albinos, and I've got to redo this tank particularly and specifically for the black bends when I get some more bloodline. So the rainbows are beautiful. I'm really happy with them. Now what I did do though is when I came down, I actually collected some eggs because I managed to save a couple, not many. You can see them in there. I might just put this cut down so I can zoom. But these are what I managed just to scrape off. I don't know if they were pretty much mashed together, so I don't know how they'll go. I do have the fry rack set up where I can put the trays in here, and I run water through them through these outlets, and it's just a constant flow, and that's how I normally hatch the eggs. I'm not sure I'm going to do that with these ones because not everyone has the ability to do those sorts of flow through systems, although you can buy containers that go inside the actual tank itself. But I'm tempted to just run them in a little cup like that with some tang and some air, just to show you that it is possible to do it without a whole fancy setup. Now, before I do that, I just might show you along the same lines of what I was talking about. You might hopefully get through the glare. Yeah, see the corys at the back there? So I put the rainbows in this tank last night. Now these are all my babies, but look how they're behaving. That's genuine spawning or pre-spawning behavior. That's all the group getting together. How good does that look? These are the rainbows that went in. How good do they look? Now I've got that one I know has got to come out and go into the other tank. But these dudes, I think these are the Parkinsoni, have been displaying all morning. Yeah, but what I was saying was that the Corydoras, it's like a change of hierarchy, even if it's not the species of fish that's been taken out. Doesn't that look cool? So that sort of behaviour is something I'm stoked about. Okay, we should get some more work done. What do you reckon? What do you need? What do you want? Oh, the ball? Is that what you want? Well, it's a bit cold outside, so the door's shut, so it doesn't get to chase it very far. Alright, let's get back into it. Okay, so that's it. Changed over. So you have a little bit of airflow going through. It's just a plastic jug. I've taken some the water that they were in. I've actually taken the water out of here to make it easy to do water changes, to put a bit in there. So I've dropped a bit of tang in, and that's it. I'm not putting methylene blue or anything like that in. I don't use any of that stuff. They'll pretty much, there's only a couple in there that might survive. I'd like to get one or two to actually to live, and show you that it's possible to do it this way as well. So Zig is, well, I don't know what we're doing at the moment, but Zig's into something that he shouldn't be again, which is no surprise. So that's if you like, the result of changing the hierarchy, introducing new fish, changing your tank around. Don't be afraid to do it because they actually love it. One of the things that they will be doing is hiding their eggs. Now these guys, it could be potentially spawning up the back there for the black bends, maybe. I'm not sure, but what they'll do is they'll hide their eggs throughout the whole tank. Now, if you're looking, oh, there's some there, I think. If I can zoom in, yeah, I think that's one there, and maybe another one on top. So what I'll do is I'll probably take those ones, they're more viable, I would have thought, not being munched on by the others. And the trick is to look around your tank. So they will lay on the leaves, they will lay on the swords, the Amazon swords I've got in here. As I say, this tank's not set up for breeding. It's literally just a holding tank for those two corys, which don't mind being paired up together. Then I've had to add the rainbows. So the next one down is the Matai species only tank, and this one is set up for breeding. So I'll take you through that one now. Okay, so that's not helpful. I didn't need that divided. No, sorry, you're not doing that. I spend half my time looking after him, throwing the ball, or cleaning up after him. Don't I, Zig? Nah, off. You're not going to do that anymore.
Okay, so I've taken the tub that I had the air stone in for the Cory breeding. So I think I had about 6 eggs. You wouldn't call it necessarily successful or unsuccessful. I've just pulled the Sawasatang out, and I've noticed somewhere down here is 1 or 2 little babies ripping around. I don't know if you can see them there. So, you know, out of 6 or 8 eggs, that's probably not bad as far as the strike rate's concerned. But this little guy, I'm going to stick some green water in for him to feed him and pop him back in there with the Sawasatang and the air stone again. So I'll do that now so you can see it. But it just goes to show no chemicals, no methylene blue, none of that stuff. I don't do anything other than treat them carefully with respect, put them into the tank water, run the air stone, and yeah, you get little bubbies. So that's pretty cool. All right, I'll get some green water for you. So I got the green water. Now I've tipped half of it out and filled it with some of the tank water from there, just so it's roughly the same temperature. It's probably still a bit cool. He was just moving around down there, and again, if you can see him down there, I'll put some, all I do is tip some green water in. There it is. That's him right there. So what I'm going to do is just add just little bits of the green water in. I'm going to drop the Sawasatang back in. I'm also going to grab, now this is not fry food, but because it's a powder, I'm going to use that just to milk it up a little bit and get that down to the bottom. I'm going to get this back into the tank like so. Now it did stay there before without the extra water in it. There we go. Okay, air stone in, and I'm not going to do anything else tonight. I'm going to just leave that, leave him to feed. I will do a water change tomorrow and siphon out the little other eggs that didn't hatch. But that's as hard as it needs to be to breed corys, to be honest. It doesn't matter what fish food. If you've got some green water, that'll be good, and some air flowing, and you know, keep it as close to the tank parameters where you took them from as possible, and you'll get that result. All right. So this is the little fella. After about 3 days, I've been feeding him. So I've only got 1 in there now that I can see, but he's still going strong, and yeah, he's still living in this jug. So I'm going to maybe just tidy it up a little bit for him, make it a bit more homely.
So it's been a week after the first spawn where I've got that single little bubby out, and you'll see they've done it again. So sometimes you can never predict which ones of your corys are going to go, but these guys, again, I'm going to say albino. I would be amazed if they were the black vens, but I guess only time will tell. So some have been picked off by the rainbows, as you would expect, but I got to them in time, and there's enough here for me to actually do to show you another method of hatching these guys that's probably the step up from the jug. So I'm going to collect these now, and then I will show you what I'm going to do with them. So you'll see here that I've set up one of the racks like Dean's fry rack system. It's bare bottom at the moment. Most likely I will put some sand in there from one of the other tanks just to put it around. And I'm going to tip some green water in, and I'll end up tipping this guy, the single dude in here. I called him, he's Robinson Crusoe, or Robbie for short, and Robbie could be obviously male or female. And I'm going to tip that whole container into here, and he's certainly too young to eat any of the babies when they come out, but this is how I attach the eggs through. So what I'm going to do is stick these guys, if you can see them there, perhaps on the end of my finger as well, onto the side walls. Now whether or not they stay there doesn't really matter, because I've got a bit of sponge down this end, the water flow going in the top. Okay, what I've done, you'll see I've tipped what was the jug that this guy was in, Robbie. So that was it. I think it's a 1.5, 2 litre jug. So that's where he was raised. He's now upgraded. All of his sand is in here as well, so I can't really block that light. And I've got some suossitang. I've got a reasonable flow of water coming in, and I've got more suossitang down here, and I've also got the air stone that was in Robbie's tank. So he's in there. He'll start enjoying life. I'm going to tip some green water in. That's actually got some mozzies on the top of it, which are the larvae, which I'll get off first. And then I might put in, I'll see if I've got a little bit of driftwood for them to hide under. I think they also are able to chew off the mulm and the everything else that goes with that. But that will be the setup to raise these guys. And yeah, I guess it's the next level up. If you've got a tank that you can do this with, it is a fantastic system. So I just tip that in, just washing out the last little bit, and I just sort of tipped it all over at both ends to try to seed this little aquarium as well. It's also got a ton of bacteria in there just because of the water, the air stone, the suossitang, the sand. It'll be fine. And what I do with the eggs is, if I've already got it set up, as you'll see, this is another batch there. Hopefully it focuses. I don't have my glasses. So what I'll do with that is I'll put it into, most likely close to the flow. I just tend to rub it onto the suossitang, so the little eggs will just stick to the leaves. Get a better shot there. And it doesn't matter if they fall onto the sand. One of the things that Eric spoke to me about when he was here is that they don't naturally spawn on glass, as you can see, and this would be, you know, I guess a captive fish type thing. So for us being able to get them off there and then put them into those containers, even if they're on the sand or on the suossitang or they're floating around, they're used to floating around, they're used to being bashed around in currents and nibbled on by other things. So they're pretty tough, and I don't really baby them. I certainly don't put any chemicals in. I will show you the results probably 3 to 5 days. Given the temperature, we should have some little babies in there, and I think what I'll do, as soon as I see any type of movement in there, I'm going to start feeding them green water, which is I guess the point we're going to come back to. Yeah, no, they're up there. You love Corydoras, don't you? They're your second favourite fish. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is do a breakdown of one tank, which is this one here, the Corydora tank. So there should be green, gold, or actually they might just be gold laser corys in there. I was just saying to my mate, the cameraman, I haven't seen them for probably maybe once this year, and it's July. So what I'm doing, this one I've already done prior to Nick's visit. You can see it's actually quite clean. I've actually got some baby, what are these guys, panda corys in here at the moment, so they've been breeding in there. They were quite happy with that setup. So the plan is to replicate that here and get these guys breeding again along the lines of what I've already shown you on the stuff we're going to do. So I'm going to also just give these guys a water change. This system, it's turned off actually for these tanks, which are the Cory tanks, but it actually flows into my to my hard water sump. So this water is, whilst it's a lower pH for the corys, it's actually washing through into my sump, and then it'll mix around with the rest of the water. So it's still quite clean water going into it. It'll mix around with the rest of the water and then go out of the overflow before it, some of it and the fresh water gets pumped back up. So that's all I'm doing here. For me, it's really easy. I just, I could have a water change system on top of this, and I probably will end up getting one set up. So I've thought about it many times, but this is a pretty easy way for me to do it. And I probably only do it once a week at the moment. So what are you doing, boy? Come here. He's listening intently there, aren't you? So, all right. So what I'm going to do now, whilst these are doing water changes, is get into this tank, and hopefully we'll get a good result by the end of it. I know it bores the shit out of him. All right, let's get into it. Now that the tank's empty, I dug a pit into the centre here because I don't want to take all this substrate out. For me, that's just too much work, and the corys love it too much. So I've dug a pit, and I've got the water flowing so it swirls around. So I'll fill it up. I'll siphon from here a couple of times. I might even do 2 or 3 fills of the tank, clean the glass. I will use the rocks. There was a ton of rocks in there. Sponge filter I'm going to give a clean to, and then I got 12 of the Corydoras out, so they're not happy. They were elusive and scared in the tank, so they're more so here, but I will get a clearer pick of them. And I've got I think 2 of the tiger rice fish, Medaka rice fish in there. So I am going to now as I say, get that tank hopefully looking more like this tank, and then I'll be able to see them. And I know they've bred in there before, so I don't think I had 12 when I put them in there. I've got a feeling it's something like 9, because I always use odd numbers when I buy fish or put them in. So all right, I will get into that and clean it up now. Okay, so now it's drained, and I've done another fill and another siphon. Because I've got a cameraman, I'm actually going to take you through the process of setting it up, and it's literally freestyle. I haven't got a clue what I'm going to do. And this one's got no timber, so it's different from that. I might go out and find some timber outside yet, but we'll just see how long my cameraman's going to be with us for. But they're the rocks, which is heaps. I used to go overboard with rocks, and this tank's been here forever. So I'm going to use some of those, not all. Look at the CW27s out. Aren't they a beautiful Cory? Yeah, they're big too, those guys. They've bred in there for me once, so I'm going to give them a little touch up. I'm going to put some leaf litter in. The tank's pretty perfect for them because they're fish that like to hide. There's no doubt they're a shy Cory, and they like to get underneath there, but when they're comfortable, they'll come out. Thinking about the fish that we've got here, so the gold lasers, they're a flighty Cory compared to the others. They like to have somewhere to hide. They do spawn in the plants as well. I like the rock piles because whatever mulm gets stuck under there is attracted, you know, from the flow. Wherever it gets stuck is wherever eggs get stuck as well, or babies, once they hatch, they'll go along the bottom to wherever everything else is collecting before they have the power to sort of challenge the flow. So, look, I'm just going to point out quickly how these are Napoensis corys. You don't see them out too much. How nice are they? So they're Napoensis. I haven't bred them yet, but I've got girls and boys in there. There's 4, so hopefully one day. So back to this. So what I'm going to do is have an area for them to go and hide completely so I can't see them. Now, as I said, I haven't seen them for 6 months, so even if I get a shot of them every now and again, that'd be awesome. But I think what I'll do is put somewhere so they can go away and hide, and then hopefully I'm going to put some, I think I might put guppies or something above them so there's a heap of cover, a heap of dither fish. If you don't know what dither fish are, dither fish are really important for any bottom-dwelling species. So Eric Bodrock has a great video, I think, out through Lucas Brett's from LRB Aquatics. It's an old video, but he explains in great detail about that. But essentially, if a bottom dweller is down here and it's got fish above the top, then they're not worried about predators from above. So as soon as there's no dither fish, that means there's predators above, so your corys are then on high alert. So if they're always on high alert, and these guys only had 2 Medaka rice fish above them, so by the time, you know, that the fish might be in one corner, well, the other corys are worried about over here and they're hiding all the time. So what I'm going to do to change that up is to basically cover the top with fish. I don't know what sort yet. I've got a ton of guppies I could choose from. And whether or not I want to breed them in there, I might just stick all males in, but I'll decide as I go, as I do. And then the rest of it, I want to put some more plants in because I know this species particularly likes to lay on plants. So that's what we'll do. And yeah, I'm just going to pick this stuff out of the room. I've got, as I say, no idea, but let's get into it. Okay, so we just had a quick look outside. In the first tub we looked in, there was an awesome bit of timber. So it's seasoned, as you could say. I've had some hair algae on it. There's a bit there. Tried to get off pretty much everything. So, but that, yeah, I'm going to put these epiphytes on it now. So these things actually grow on timber and rocks and everything naturally. In fact, one of the ones I took out of there, I put in here just to keep wet, and I'm going to use it again. But you can see it's naturally attached to that rock there. So its roots just grab on. So that's an epiphyte, and this is Java fern, thin-leafed Java fern. So I'm going to do that in the tank, but before I do that, what I want to do, I'll also clean the sponge filter. I'm going to try to get this to just stick in there. You can use super glue, but, and they say it's fish safe and shrimp safe, and yes, I've used it. I just prefer not to if I can help it. And these things grow in a line, basically one direction. So if you put the back half of it into something like that, and then what I do is I just push it back far enough to sort of jam it in, and then it will just naturally grab onto that timber there, and this will be covered in no time. And then any other, I'm thinking I'm going to lay it possibly this way so that they can go in and hide behind here. So that's the way I've got it positioned there. So I'm trying to get the growth to match, and I'll probably put that something like that in there so they've got this whole back corner to hide in, but also to shoot out and in as they need to. So one thing I do sometimes, if you see this leaf at the bottom down here near the roots, sometimes I use that to feed it in, and then use that leaf as a temporary sort of wedge, if I can get it to fit. And it'll just stop it floating off. It doesn't need that leaf anymore, and it will give it time to actually attach by the time that leaf rots. So that's it. What I think I'll do is just position him at the back here now, like that. I think what I'll do is I'll have that area higher at the back. So I think I'm going to grab this one, but I have it so it's covering the end of that log there now. I don't need that long. I don't hesitate to cut these off because they come back very, very quickly. So it just cleans up the floor a bit better. All right, that there, I don't like that sticking out there, but at the same time, it's probably really good as far as getting corys to lay on it. So I might try a flat rock if it's hard enough, heavy enough, I should say. Something like that. Put them down there. Try to get into the corner there. And then use the weight of the rocks to hold it down. And what I'll do here is I'll cover this with sawasatang just in case they do lay here, any babies that fall in here. Hopefully we've got them sorted as well. Just wetting these epiphytes, because if you don't wet them while you're scaping, they do die. So this one here, just bury it a bit more. Little rock, always a good find. Okay, so then what I've got to do is, there should be an air stone in there, there is. I don't really want that where they're resting, so I'm going to stick it on the other side this time. And all that's designed to do is to create flow. So I'm going to just wedge it in there behind the sponge filter. These roots, I don't really want them, so I'll just break them off. Drop that back in. There's obviously, I had another air stone still operating too. Where does that one go to? This is one of the things that I do, is find the control for the air valve many times. Goes into that tank, out of that tank, and onto there, I think. Which one did I say it was? I think it's that valve there. Yes. Okay. I am going to put some of this back in, but it's and I'm going to put it up the back so that it gives the cover and the height to the back of this tank here where that void is. But I don't know how much of it I want really, so there's quite a bit, and my neighbour's taken a heap. There's another one for you, bro. So I don't need the massive long roots on it, so I'm just going to rip those off. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I like to make sure I get all of the epiphytes and all the other roots of anything else, or plants or leaves of the plants I put in there out the way, because the roots will just destroy them. And then pretty much I think I'm just going to jam that in behind the sponge filter and behind the airline. People ask lots of times, does the pothos grow underwater completely? And yes, the answer is yes, it does. Absolutely it does. This tank was the perfect example of that before I did that, before I started. So, okay, so that's just sort of jammed in there, and you can see it will give a bit more cover, not only for the corys, but for whatever the dither fish are that I put in there. If they're guppies, they'll enjoy that. I'm quite happy to use the outlet to sort of support that, bring those roots out a bit. So yeah, I want the directional flow from that and the air stone, so it'll basically come up and circulate around under there, mostly in that type of an action. Whatever goes over here will have to filter through the plants and the rocks and the sawasatang, which is where I think all of the babies will end up, if they're, and eggs if there's any, which is why I'm going to make that a nursery type of area for them. I'm pretty happy with that. I really don't want a whole heap more. Maybe this one can just go in. I don't know where it'll sit. If it'll sit under there. Yeah, I think that looks okay. Plus the roots in there will actually do really well for the babies to hide amongst. That's pretty good. I think you'll find that they will congregate over here as well. Just move that rock up a bit so it's a bit flatter for them. Get rid of that bit of timber, because it'll be like a little hiding area under the leaves of this what did I call it before? I'm going to put some suwasitang over those rocks, as I said. So this bucket here is the one that I grow outside. You can see it's got a layer of biofilm over the top there. But this suwasitang started out at golf ball size, so it grows brilliantly, and I'm pretty happy with it at the moment. So that stuff, making sure there's no hair algae or anything on it, and I'm going to use that. No, it all looks okay. That might be something I don't like. I'm just going to try to now sort of intertwine it and spread it out with my fingers in amongst the rocks and also the roots, so it can't float away, and then jam it into some of those crevices, because this is absolutely where the fry will head for once they hatch out of the eggs. And some corys do eat their fry, so you know, if there's a little one ripping around and they're hungry, they will have a crack. I can't see any hair algae on that. I just don't want to bring any in. So same thing here, just sort of push it in and around the roots, let it sort of break up naturally where it would, and then jam it into the rocks. And then once it's sort of stabilized, it'll grab onto the rocks itself anyway. And what will happen is it will sort of form a bit of a ball, bit of a head shape. And you'll have corys resting in here too. They actually like it as a bit of a bed. So jam it in pretty tight the first time and you'll have no problems with it. We're getting close to adding the fish. Okay, so I wanted to have a feature plant type thing as I do in the tanks, which in this one's the sword. So what I've done is I've just grabbed some sprigs of the little wiggy that was actually just floating in a bucket out there. I've used a cable tie, just a green one, to put it on. And I'm pretty much just going to set it up something like that. In fact, exactly like that. And then I've just got to work out where it looks best as perspective in the tank. Do I want it on the side, I think? I don't want it in the front because it's going to block the epiphytes. And I want it in the sand. So I'm kind of thinking there. And it will grow up and then go along with the flow. It'll float on top of the water as well. So I'm thinking that's probably where I want it. I might just put one more rock at the back to secure it in place. And it makes a bit of a raceway through here for the corys as well, which they will enjoy. Maybe a touch more suwasitang. I think I'd rather have more corys than suwasitang. And I'm just sort of going to jam it in around the sponge filter as well, because the sponge filter obviously is where the water draws into. So the eggs and everything else will go towards that. How does that look? Pretty good. Yeah, you know what? I'm pretty happy with that.